Now, let's talk about the portrait, King Charles's first official portrait. You can see it over here between our guests. It's been unveiled. Look at that. Look at that. So it's Jonathan Yeo who's done it. His dad was a Tory MP, I seem to remember, called Tim Yeo. And, we're not going to prejudge. Obviously, Twitter went into meltdown over it. But it's worth us looking back a bit. Let's just have a look back to royal portraits back in the day, because they're much of a muchness. So spin back the clock here to see Edward I. Remember him, the Confessor? 1272 he was king. There he is, classic, the nose has fallen off. I mean, is that what we want? So his nickname was Edward Longshanks. I had an idea. Let's get a modern take on this by asking AI to give us Edward I. So King Edward Longshanks. And I then type and I say to AI, do it. And they say no. Why? They don't like the word Longshanks. Longshanks meant long legs. So let's try again. King Edward, long legs. Come on, AI. Let's see what you give us in the 21st century. Isn't that amazing? The cleverness, they didn't even include a head on it. It's like, OK, we're just doing the legs. That would have been something, wouldn't it, in 1272? Because actually, when you look back through royal portrait history, they are, yes, Paris Hilton yawning. I mean, they've all got the same look. You take away Charles II, he was a bit of a Chippendale, so that's a classic portrait, as is the Holbein of Henry VIII, 1540, 1670. Maybe our king is continuing a great tradition of striking portraits. The best portrait ever of a royal, can I show you? We go here, 1656, King of Spain, Velasquez. Velasquez was an arrogant so-and-so, all right? He thinks, he's asked me to do a portrait, I'm going to do it of me. There's Velasquez, the painter. There's his easel. You're seeing what the king and queen are seeing, and you see the king and queen of Spain in the mirror. And it's called Las Meninas because that means the little ones. So all the children of the king and queen are in the foreground. The whole thing is the most crazy, mind-bending picture. And there's even the guy's so arrogant, he thinks, I can't be bothered to finish it. So he leaves that guy unfinished. So maybe maybe this is great, Lynn. This is what we need.
The thing is, I wouldn't actually call this striking. I think the artist has managed to depict his face beautifully. It's spot on. But then we kind of go to the neck and everything just gets a bit lost.
It looks like Barbie, doesn't it, where they just spread it with pink?
Yeah, and I understand they tried to capture that he's into nature, the little butterfly, but I didn't immediately see it. And then the sword.
Butterfly on the right shoulder, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm disappointed at the colours. I like the colours of the reddish pink, and I would have liked to see his tunic, his jacket, with more of a striking image that would separate from the background. Maybe
I'm wrong. On the monitor, it looks pink to me, so that might just be our monitor. So then pink to me says Barbie. Red says war, though, Michael. Red says blood.
Yeah, I mean, I think artistically it's quite a fabulous picture. And obviously we've got photographs now. So if you're an artist, there's no point in just doing a photorealistic painting. But red is an interesting colour to choose. I mean, to me, this looks a bit like a future history book on an English civil war. I don't know if King Charles is worried he's going to be the last king.
I don't know why. Maybe he might have said why he chose it. Look at this, the unveiling where Charles... And I think...
Do you think they discussed it with the artist? Do you think they gave him some pointers? We kind of want the colour palette to be like red?
No way can you tell an artist to use a certain colour.
No? Okay.
But I think it's not going to be a surprise reveal to Charles.
The face is really good. The face is good. The butterfly is a symbol of freedom.
Really?
You know, the idea that if a butterfly lands on your shoulder, it's good luck.
OK.
So Charles said in an interview, I think it's wonderful, a butterfly lands on your shoulder when you're... And I thought he was going to say when you're king, and he said when you're gardening. So reactions have been mixed. Someone pointing out the king himself seemed to be alarmed when he unveiled it. I don't know about that.
Really?
They were, yeah.
He would have had a look.
He definitely would have seen it
He
before.
definitely had a sneak peek.
He might have had
that changing rooms moment where they get back and they hate the bedroom and then they start crying and the host has to sort of console them.
Yeah, no, I think he will have seen it. There are a few tweets about it. Dr. Philip Lee tweeted, wanted painter for official portrait of His Majesty King Charles, must have prior portrait experience, ability to make Painting a portal into the nether realm and a conduit for millennia-old evil, non-essential but desirable. The Have I Got News for You account wrote, outrage at the unveiling of the first official portrait of King Charles since the coronation has just stopped oil protesters.
That's a good one.
That's a good one because, yeah, you're right, it's soup-proof. Maybe that's the reason for it. You can't actually spoil it by throwing soup at it. Nat, who's working on the programme today, asked her mother-in-law, Bridget Tompkins, who's an artist, her thoughts on the painting. She joins us on the phone now. What do you think, Bridget?
Oh, hello, good morning. Hi. Ask me a straightforward question. I really love it. I wasn't familiar with his Jonathan Yeo's work, but I had a quick look this morning earlier. I think it's brilliant, and I love the colours. I love the way he's emerging. I love the clarity of his expression, of his face and his hands. Well, if hands can be expressive, which obviously they can be. There's sadness in his features, there's emotion, there's sensitivity. And yes, although he's coming out of the ether, so to speak, that seems to be fairly appropriate to me.
Well, what do you think? Can you tell me why red? Because red is a hostile colour. Red is Mars, war, is blood.
Well, I'm looking at this on my iPad, and I don't see red, and red is too broader term for me. So I'm so I can see cadmium red, which is like a lovely orangey, painty box red for children's toys.
I see.
I can see pink. I can see permanent rose. I can see opera rose. I can see burnt sienna and rusty tones in some of the clothing. And what I like about it actually is this incredible surface texture that he's around the body, the arms, the shoulders. You've got a real feeling of texture there. And it's quite mysterious. It's obviously not going to be for everybody.
Thank you, Bridget. I was inspired by the artwork when I bumped into Storm this morning. Take a look. I know you've been there for a while. Just give me just a second more on the last.
No
That's
worries.
it. That's it.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Can I see it?
You're going to love it. Come on. So really, look at that.
Oh.
And you know, Charles had a butterfly. Can you see I put a seagull there?
Yes. Yep, I can see that. That's interesting. Great. So that's to go in my living room wall?
Yeah. Well, where do you see the seagull? Where would you think of putting that? I mean, just somewhere prominent.
Yep, somewhere prominent. Maybe the bathroom.
Oh dear, no, I didn't. That was not a winner for Storm, I don't think. So what do you think, Lynn?
Of Storm's.
Well, of everything.
Oh,
the whole of
okay.
life.
Not sure about you. I'm not sure if you've got it on the mark with
What
the
do you
Storm.
think, Michael?
portrait.
Well, do we know where this is going up? Is it the National Portrait Gallery or something like that?
Well, I hope it's going up at Buck House.
I think it speaks well of King Charles, you know. I'm not a royalist, but I feel like he's come out with quite a modern painting. It's quite experimental. It's interesting. You know, you don't look at that and think, what a boring guy.
No, and the point about the graphic earlier is that we're so used to, and it's 80% of kings and queens, it's head and shoulders, and they all look the same. I mean, you know, famously, Henry VIII was appalled by Anne of Cleves because she didn't look like her painting. And the guy, poor painter, said, well, that's how we paint all women.
Well, I think it used to be terrifying as a portrait artist because you had to make them... Because you didn't have a photograph to compare to. It's the picture which is what everyone thinks the king or the queen looks like. So you have to make them look gorgeous. And if you don't, you know, they have capital punishment in those days.
I'm sure they could lie, couldn't they? And say, can you trim me off the sides a bit? Can you make my nose look different?
Absolutely.
Well, there was one, I think, in The Crown, and I think the story is true. I think it was Graham Sutherland, the portrait artist who did Churchill, and Churchill was so furious he had the painting destroyed because it made him look like he was sitting on the loo. Because he was like that, looking up, and the painter was looking down. Janet in Nottingham, what do you think of the painting?
In one word, it's 4-letter, begins with C and ends with P.
Carp.
Yeah, something like
Something
that.
like carp.
Well, he's got the face.
The face
It's
is good.
definitely Prince Charles, but it's not King Charles. It's not a regal Charles. He's coming through a red net curtain because it looks like it's been put on a cardboard cutout. It's like two different paintings. Now, why they would pick somebody who don't know how to paint hands, who's supposed to be an artist, is really good at faces.
He's
but
good
if
at
you look
yeah.
the hands,
I
they
think
don't
the
look
hands
very
okay. Yeah.
good at
Oh,
hands.
yes, you're right. The hands are not actually. Now you mention that, it's a good.
King
Thank you,
Charles
Janet.
has quite
Go on.
strange hands. Not strange. That's an unpleasant way of. He's
sausage.
got quite particular hands, hasn't he? So I'm not sure that's the answer.
He calls them sausage fingers, but I mean, those don't really look like sausages. Sylvia in Swansea, hello.
Hello there.
Good or bad?
To me, good, because I feel that people have remarked on tomato soup and one thing and the other. That is, in my opinion, what King Charles feels about the planet. He feels that it is an impending overheating where we will not be able to exist. And I feel that they haven't shown his regalia, all the medals and the gold braid, because it's not important here.
Yeah.
It's what King Charles feels himself. He's not constantly
I like
conscious.
that, but also it could be that red mist. To me, it just says road rage, which is not something I associate with Charles.
They're just showing him, not his regalia, because he fears the heating of the planet, and I think they show the butterfly to show that the vulnerability of us all.
I love that reading of it, Sylvia. Thank you. That's great. So the planet is warming up. We're all in this kind of climate-related fire, and the butterfly is somehow just tapping him on the shoulder to say, save me. Brilliant reading. Sylvia, thank you. After the break, it's the papers and everything else.